In this tutorial, we're going to go into the processes section of the Active Envoy Management Console. Now in this section, we're going to assume for the example that we are managing one door that would read asset and employee tags, and I'm going to have to report those assets and employees to different listening applications. Now, we're going to go into further discussion about the logical devices, the fields, the reports, and the subscribers. The first order of business will be the logical devices, and this is actually to define my business locations and how the infrastructure is managed. Now, the first logical device I'm going to create is going to be called entrance door, and this will be a base logical device. Base meaning that it directly connects to a physical device. Now, once I go to the devices section, I'm going to have access to all the readers that are connected on the Envoy. And in this example, the entrance is antenna 0 on the alien antenna. Now I can see that once my logical device is created, I have access to the reader properties where this logical device is residing, so I can easily do my configuration from here. The next logical device I'm going to create is the exit logical device, which is the exit door. Now we're going to assume that there's a reader on the door and antenna 1 is actually the exit tracking that is happening. So once those two are done, I'm going to go ahead and create, for the sake of the example, a third logical device, the warehouse logical device. This is a composite type. Now this is just to show you how do composite logical devices operate. And here we can see that we have a list of logical devices that have been created, and I can use them and actually add them to the list of logical devices for the warehouse composite logical device. Now, once that is done, I have all my logical devices and business locations identified. I can go ahead and create my fields. Now, the fields are how the Active Envoy will actually relate to the tags and how it will work with them and how to identify them. The first field I'm going to create is the type field. It's of hexadecimal value. It starts at index 16 in my APC data. Now, after index 16, it's gonna go ahead and read 4 hexadecimal values, which sum up to 16 bits. Now, in the bindings section, I'm gonna create how the Active Envoy will relate to those tags. Here I can see that I have multiple operators that I can use for the Active Envoy to use. Now, the first I'm gonna use the is equal to, and whenever it will see AAAA, it will know that this tag is an asset tag to know what to do with it. And whenever the value read is equal to EEEE, this will translate so that the Envoy will know that it is reading an employee tag. Now these fields now I can use them in my reports to filter data and to basically use them in my business processes building. Now I'm gonna go ahead and create another field, which is the serial number field. Now, the serial number is actually a decimal field that will start reading at index 72 of my APC data, and this will actually hook itself on the 7 decimal values it sees, so it has a length of 24 bits. Now, I have no bindings for this field, as it is just translating the bits and zeros and ones that I am getting into a decimal value for my application. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is create my reports and define how the application will relate to this data. The first report is an asset report. This is actually a report that will have all the assets in them for the use by the application. I'm going to choose that in this report, I will need the output fields type and serial number. Now I have access to the filters section. Now the filters section is a very interesting section, as it allows me to create and define all the business rules needed for this specific report. Here we can see we can add ors and add ands as much as we want, so that ultimately we will have the right rule that is required to make a certain process go. Here we can see we have access to different operators to use, and it will automatically get the values of the fields that we are filtering upon. Now, I'm going to go ahead and delete all these and create the fields that we use, the filters that needed now. Now, here in this example, I'm going to need a filter hooking itself on the type field and would only report tags that are of type assets. Now, after this report is done, I'm going to go ahead and create another report for the employees. Now, the employee report will not use the serial number field and will only use the type field. Here we can see we can just use any field that we want, so the report will only understand the values and the filter types that we are adding. Here we are saying to filter on type only equal to employee, so this report will only have employee tags in them. After the report building is done, I'm gonna start now by creating our subscribers. The subscribers are the different listening applications, the ones that we will be pushing reports to later on in the tutorial. Now, the first subscriber is the Envoy UI, and this is to activate the real-time tag viewer. The IP address is my local IP address, and it's listening on port 55555. Another report, for example, will be pushed to the WMS application. Now, the WMS application listens on the TCP protocol. It has 88 as an IP address, and it will be listening on port 4567. For the sake of an example, we're going to add a third subscriber, which is a web server subscriber. Let's go ahead and call it web server. Now, this will be communicating through HTTP protocol instead of TCP. So I'm going to go ahead and choose HTTP. It has a IP address on the network equal to 10.86, and it will be listening on port 8080. So here I have all my configuration done, and now I have all the building blocks that I can use inside my configuration for the different processes and different workflow designs.